is going on, everybody? For those who don't know, I go by Philly Mike, host of the Philly Talk podcast. But today we have our last, I repeat, last pre-game Battle Birds podcast live stream for the 2020-2021 season. And I think we're all in the same feeling of we got to get done with this season, see what happens in the off season, and get to some better football. I don't know how much better we're going to be able to get with this type of off season. We got a lot to discuss. Eagles, Washington, and just the drama that surrounds Philadelphia Eagles off season, which hasn't even started, but it already started. Go ahead, guys. Introduce yourself.
Go ahead.
What's going on, everybody? Steve, Gate City Sports Channel. As Mike said, man, we're coming into the home stretch. It's the very last one, guys, for the off season. I'm about to after this live stream and after this game, I got some recoup time planned to go to Lake Norman, try to get ready for those marathons of Saturday nights that are coming up, because we all know the Battle Bird podcast Saturday is coming back, and you got to be ready for that thing.
Yo, that man, what's going on? How you feeling? How's everybody doing, man? If you don't know who I am, I don't know where you've been. It's your boy Philly Fresh, aka the General, here reporting for duty, man. Shout out to all of y'all being in here. Notification gang is in here, man. I see y'all. I see you. Hey, Mr. Philly 223. I'm gonna give you a yo that. That's what I do, man. That's my signature. What's going on, man? How's everybody feeling? Hey, Ron, one more, man. I see you in here. What's going on, man? You been checking that score? I ain't gonna talk this yet, because I ain't hit double zeros, but you know what's going on, man. Shout out to my guy, Ron, one more, man. Seriously. Yo, that.
All right, I'll just start us off with it.
Go ahead. I forgot that Go ahead.
What's the probability we win this football game?
To me, it got to be low. You got 12 starting Eagles out. I think anybody that they could have a 1% chance of being out, they were like, you know what, go ahead and take the time. I mean, they made Carson Wentz a healthy scratch. Nikel Roby-Coleman, Jalen Mills had the COVID-19 thing, Miles Sanders, Fletcher, 12 Eagles not playing. We couldn't win with them. Why would we win without them? You know what I mean?
I got a crazy take on this. This might sound crazy to y'all. Yeah. I know, and I'm about to get to that in a minute. Give me a second, Ron. I got a crazy take on this. I got some type of weird feeling that because this is going to be Jim Schwartz's last game, he's going to send the hounds. He's going to do things that we've been asking him to do. I think he's going to have safety help. I think he's going to send blitzes. And yes, I need him to shut Gibson down. Please do that in your last game. Jim Schwartz, you have put me through so much turmoil. You put me through so much pain. So today, can you shut down Gibson for me? Pretty please, with sugar on top. But yeah, but in all seriousness, man, I got a weird feeling that we gonna win this game, man. It just it just really feels like that. So we're gonna drop from potential the 3rd to 4th or 5th pick to 11th with this win. Nah, man. But I do understand a lot of people are not playing. You know what I mean? To me, I'm still disappointed in the organization for the fact that if Jalen Hurts is going to be a future, we don't know who's going to be Carson Wentz. We done heard the speculations. And can I ask y'all a question real fast? Why is it that it's breaking news 2 weeks in a row that Carson Wentz asked for a trade? Didn't we just go through this? So why is this breaking news again? It's clickbait, y'all. Y'all got to stop falling for the clickbait, man. I don't understand it. If last week we went over this because somebody said that he offered for a trade, now all of a sudden, Carson Wentz offered for a trade. We're acting like this is deja vu. We're acting like this didn't happen. We're acting like it's Groundhog Day or something like that. We already went through this.
Hey, Fresh. I was saying, if you didn't believe it the first time, stay not believing it. If you believe it the first time, then believe it.
No, I get it. And and me personally, I don't have no problem with Carson Wentz saying it. But my thing is, I don't understand why we all in the uproar. I'm not saying I'm not saying
Oh,
y'all.
yeah.
I'm just saying us as Eagles Nation, we get into an uproar acting like this is breaking news or something because somebody puts it out there. Well, it got put out there last week. I just don't understand it, man. I don't get it. But to me, back to what you was asking, Gate City, I ain't gonna lie, I got this weird feeling, man, that Jim Swears is gonna try to go out with a bang. He gonna send blitzes. Darius Slay is supposed to play. I don't know who's supposed to be over there next to him. I don't know if they're gonna start the kid Jaquette again, but Mills is on the COVID list, so he ain't playing. I mean, the list goes on and on. Carson Wentz ain't even suiting up. But why in the hell, if Jalen Hurts is your guy that you want to go with, why in the hell is he even playing? Nate Sudfeld should be behind center from beginning to end. Now, I did hear that Nate Sudfeld is supposed to probably play the second half or something like that. No, you might as well play it like for what? What is the point of putting this kid against this defensive line when your left tackle is out? We already know how. Like, you're probably going to play Nate Herbig. Like, who's even playing at left tackle right now?
Yeah, right. Hey, but real quick, let me just get this out of the way.
Brett Toth.
Yeah, Toth.
Yeah,
and this is his first start. He had to come in earlier in the season. He played maybe 5 to 7 snaps, I believe.
Pryor's left tackle, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, is barbecue chicken. Like, I don't understand why you would why you would even put Jalen Hurts on a menu. Like, because that's what you're doing. You're putting him on a menu, you're putting him on a platter, and you're serving him to this defensive line. We've seen what this defensive line did to Carson Wentz. We've seen.
Yeah.
And you think this offensive line is better than that one on week 1? Oh, hell no. I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. I don't get what the organization is thinking, man. Go ahead, Charles.
I just wanted to say before I get to this super chat, I think it's more along the lines that, Doug Peterson trying to show a little bit of prideful. I believe that the 12 people that we are not allowing to play have something nagging, because if they're letting Big Play Slay, a guy who's been nicked up throughout the whole season, he only missed one game, but every game he has an ankle, a back, a shoulder. He had something nagging him. For him to play shows that they're not fully giving up. Maybe they pull some punches. I don't know. Shout out to Airy Star Win with the $10 super chat. He said, "Need you to win." LOL, go Giants. I know the Cowboys are sick earlier today. They were the ones talking so much trash, like, y'all better win because we gonna handle business, and they couldn't handle business. So that was something bright to cheer up my Sunday. But I do have along with Fresh, man, I could see the young guys who are going to be asked to play trying to play for something, a la Jalen Hurts. And hey, we could possibly knock them off. I'm not going to bet my money on it. It's not great for the long term, but I'm going to watch the game like everybody else. And if we get a first down, I'm not going to not say something positive about it. I mean, I'm just going to report on it the same way I would, but we would benefit from a better pick. And Houston is winning. Who Houston wins and we lose, they even bump us up. So then we're definitely 5 or 4. It could be a wild finish to the season.
It's going to be tough, man, because I just looked through some of it. Michael Jaquette's out because of that the calf, I believe. Nickel Roby-Coleman, I think, got put on the COVID list. I mean, Elijah Riley. I don't know. Is Seymour back? Let me check the injury status. I don't know if Seymour might be back, but I thought they put him on IR, didn't they? Seymour, do you guys know?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I know he was not.
I was about to ask y'all: Is Josh Sweat on IR, or is he supposed to play?
I think he's IR'd. He was on IR. All right, let me see. Roster. He's all on IR. It's a big list on IR. I can tell you that.
Like when you look at it, I'm not going to lie, man. I would just roll out all practice squad players and third strings.
This is IR, man. Bradley, Dillard, Driscoll, Gary, Craig James, Lane Johnson, Cravon LeBlanc, Avonte Maddox, Rodney McLeod, Sua Peta, Josh Perkins, Jason Peters, Hassan Ridgeway, Duke Riley, Kayvon Seymour. So, yeah, he's out. So that's another corner down. Josh Sweat and Davion Taylor. I thought Davion was coming back. I thought they activated his practice window, but maybe
I thought Avonte Maddox was on IR too.
Unless they activated their practice window.
Huh?
Because remember, you have the short. Yeah, he's still on IR according to this. It says he's still on IR. Avante.
Okay.
He was right after Trayvon.
So what corner is going to be opposite of Slay?
That's what I'm trying to find out. That's what I'm looking right now. I mean, there's Elijah Riley.
Like it seemed like we don't got no corner. Like
yeah, there's Elijah Riley.
White side.
Yeah.
You might as well.
Let me see. Elijah Riley would be active for today's game. I'm trying to see. There was another one we brought up too. What the heck's the kid's name? Give me 1 second, guys. Dang, this is painstaking to get through this deep in the depth chart, man. All I do is scout, and I don't even know some of these people, bro. I'm just gonna be honest. Some of these people I've never heard of. Lavert Hill, the kid from Michigan, might get a crack if they activated him. I don't know if they did. I don't think they did. Jamison Houston, the kid from Baylor, he's on the practice squad. I'd have to look and see who they elevated for today. But those are the only other two corners I see right now.
I usually get tweets and texts from different people on who's active and inactive. I have not gotten that yet. You know what I mean? Probably
there's so many inactives, man. It's almost impossible to keep up. Like I think it's going to obviously Slay's going to have to play on one side. They probably use Graylin Arnold a little bit because he's got some experience at least playing nickel. I've never seen him outside, but might not have a choice here. Jalen Mills might have to move outside if he's no, he's injured too.
Jalen Mills is hurt.
He's on the COVID list thing. Yeah,
not hurt. Yeah, the COVID list.
COVID, yeah, he's out too. Yeah. Damn, I don't know, man. I don't know who they could possibly play. Rudy Ford might have to play a little outside.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, because Jaquette was the guy, Seymour was the guy, Nickel Roby-Coleman bounced out, Avante Maddox, even Crevion LeBlanc, and Jalen. And everybody I name is not playing. I'm not saying they were automatically destined not to play this week, but they're just not able to play. Rudy Ford did get some slot snaps last week. I saw him in the slot getting beat. So he might be bounced out there.
I don't know if someone in the chat knows, did they activate Houston, the kid from Baylor? He's a natural corner. He could play outside. I mean, he's very similar in body build and fight and size to what we had last week. I mean, you're not going to be that big of a difference between them two. So
Graylin Arnold.
Yeah, Graylin Arnold though, but Graylin Arnold's more of a he's more of a nickel / safety type. He's really experienced playing on the outside, but we might not have a choice. We might not have.
That's what I was going to say. we beggars can't be choosers at this point.
Rudy Ford is not exactly an outside corner. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else we could do, to be quite honest. I mean, you can't throw the ball on this defense, bro. I don't know. Oh, they did activate Houston. Okay, yeah. So Houston will probably play outside. Like he'll probably play outside. He's got some experience out there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be bad, man. They should have brought Lavert Hill up too, man. I mean, we need any outside body we can get right now. I'll be honest. One player goes down, we might have linebackers out there.
Or
we don't even have linebackers as it is because I think Davion Taylor and Sean Bradley went down, didn't they? I thought maybe they activated Davion Taylor again.
No, I think Bradley can't. I think Bradley is back, but I think Taylor was on an IR. He's been on an IR.
I think they're both technically on the IR, but they activated the window on a few players earlier in the week. Bro, there's so many injuries on this team. This is almost impossible to keep up with.
Yeah.
So the inactives is Deshaun. See, I'm getting the inactives, but nobody telling me the actives. I'm getting Deshaun Jackson, Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffrey, Miles Sanders, Michael Jaquette, Jordan Mailata, Richard Rodgers, Dallas Goedert, Fletcher Cox, and Derek Barnett. Zach Ertz should have a heck of a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, nobody else is playing, so.
That's what I'm saying.
Get all his targets, yeah. So
it's going to be interesting. It'll be a lot of 11, man. No, they called up what's his name? Didn't they? Reese
Hakeem Butler.
Yeah. They called up. I thought they called up Hakeem Butler and the other kid, Kroom, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they called Kroom up too.
You got to. You can't go into the game. You can't go into the game with just one or two tight ends. So yeah, you had to call up them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough football game. It's gonna be a rough football game.
So it's looking like a starting wide receiver.
It feels like we're throwing out strike breakers out there. That's what it feels like. Like we got like the NFL season's in a strike, and we got these dudes that we pulled off of like the street somewhere. Like that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know, man.
it feels like last year at wide receiver. I mean, it feels like 2 years ago at cornerback. This is these are things that I'm not shocking about because this is what happens to us year after year, man. I keep
Yeah.
saying it. 2 years ago, 2 years ago, no. Yeah, 2018, it was the cornerbacks. Last year, it was the wide receivers. This year, it's O-line and everybody else. Like I don't know. See, this game is different because I feel as though anybody that got a if you got a hangnail, you probably getting benched or you probably
Yeah.
getting held back. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about historically the last 3 years. I don't know what it is. If it's the training staff, I don't know what it is, man. The medical staff or what? But we have to be at the top, if not the number one team with injuries, with IR players. We gotta be number one.
Mm-hmm.
We
We're
do,
up there.
and that's the thing, though. We might not be the number one in 1 year because there was 1 year Atlanta was really bad, 1 year San Fran was really bad. But here's the thing: the teams that get injured the following year, they're either not injured or the year after they're not injured. We are a constant 3 year injury repeat, different positions, but the amount of players that go down is just ridiculous. Now look at San Fran again. The year before it was Atlanta. Now they've been decently healthy. San Fran was destroyed this year. I bet you next year San Fran comes out perfectly fine, and we somehow continue to struggle to keep guys on the field. But hey, Gate, that's for you right there. If you want to read that one.
Yeah, I got you. Chris P, I appreciate you, buddy. Can't wait for you to evaluate wide receiver prospects. Well, it's coming, man. It's coming up. I'll probably do a little bit of season review mixed in with some of these prospect grades. We'll be doing receivers. We're going to be definitely defensive heavy in this one. I'm going to be definitely looking over some defensive prospects. So,
secondary help, please.
Yeah. Let me just read you guys something. So as I was looking up this stuff on the salary cap and I was making the videos, and I'm not even done with the salary cap, guys. I haven't even touched the surface on the information I have. But I'll give you guys something. How many linebackers do you think we have under contract for 2021?
You said what?
How many linebackers do you think we have under contract for 2021?
None.
3.
Good guess, but close, Mike. Good guess, Reese, because I would have probably thought the same thing. None. We have 4. Can any of you guys take a guess at who they are?
Taylor Bradley.
Very good.
Oh, I didn't know we was talking about rookie contract. Okay.
Well, that's why I was going to say that, and I thought maybe one more. I would say TJ.
TJ is the third.
And then
Nathan Gary.
Nope.
Alex Singleton.
Nope. Free agent.
Oh, then Duke Riley.
Nope. Free agent.
Then I quit.
Brown.
Then I quit. No, it's not Brown. It's Joe Bacci or Bacci.
Oh, come on, man.
That's the 4 guys we have under contract. You guys want to take a guess at how much money these 4 guys make combined?
100,000. That's how much they worth right now. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What do you think, Mike?
Combined, they're probably making $2 million.
A little low, but you're pretty close. $3,479,614 between 4 players.
That's
Jake Elliott. Bad. Jake Elliott's cap numbers $3,324,000. They're making what the kicker's making, all 4 combined. That's the cap situation for the Eagles. I don't know how else to illustrate a point other than to say that our kicker is making as much money as all 4 of our linebackers currently under contract for the next, for the 2021 season.
And if you want to even go a little crazier, whoever we draft, we talked about this a little bit in the backstage. Gate was talking about it. Whoever we draft that high, if we get that top 5 pick and just say we spend it on a receiver, the receiver's going to be making on his rookie season more than all the linebackers.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy. Yeah, especially if we go Mekhi Parsons, a top 10 pick. Like, absolutely, he'll double the salary right there because he's going to make at least $3 million. You know what I mean? Like, he's at least going to be pretty close to it, at least.
Yeah, it's bad. But like I said, so with Alex Singleton being on the free agent list and him actually being the most, productive linebacker that we had, I think when you look at everything all year, the in and out from all the other players, I think TJ Edwards has potential when he's playing, but he's been in and out. How do y'all feel about Alex Singleton, and do you think we can get him back on the cheap? Because anybody we get back has to be on the cheap. That's the thing. When people say move on from this player because he stinks, well, if you upgrade that position, the player who stink that costed you whatever Alex Singleton's going to cost, just say $800K a year. I'm just giving him that number. If you upgrade and go out and get a Corey Littleton, a free agent, well, now you're paying $5 million a year. You're $4 million a year. So you can't upgrade a position without the necessary cap space. But how do y'all feel about Alex Singleton?
Would be a smart idea, in my opinion, to bring him back. There's a question in the chat that I looked up. So, question in the chat, they wanted to know, who is Joe Bacci, or Bacci, however you say this kid's name.
He's from Michigan, right?
Yeah, he's an undrafted rookie free agent of the Saints that was on their practice squad that we took off, and he was out of Michigan State.
I was right.
Yeah, I went so far as that we have another guy on our practice squad.
He wasn't right. In Michigan. They
Michigan State. Okay, I forgot to leave out the state, but I didn't want to cut him off. I was going to say that. I just left it at that. You know what I mean?
All right, go ahead.
We had another guy named Rashad Smith on the practice squad, right? He was on the Bears practice squad. He was on the Cowboys practice squad. He come out of Florida Atlantic. I never heard of this dude until this year, until we signed him. I was just curious. I'm like, yo, what are they paying this dude? $142,000. $142,000.
I mean, that sounds about right for him.
Yeah, for practice squad, I get it, but just think about that. That might be our fifth linebacker next year. I mean, to be straightforward, like that's the cap situation that I hate to say it, how he put us in.
Yeah, but somehow
I hate to say it. I hate it to be the reality, I should say.
But but here's the thing, Gates. Like, you always gonna have them guys getting 100,000. See, them kind of moves. Mm-hmm. I'm not mad at $100,000. You know what I mean? Like, it's $100,000. I mean, that's a lot to me. You know what I mean? But when we talking about the cap, that's not really a hit to me. Like, we gotta talk about these bigger guys. You know what I mean? Like when you really break it down, it's like he's the least of my worries. We gotta talk about.
That's not what I'm saying, Reese. I'm not talking about wasting $100,000. I'm saying that we're in such a tight cap situation. Literally, depth players next year might be league minimum contracts like Rashad Smith. That's what I'm saying. Like, the talent pool could be so low because of this.
He's scared that we're going to have to take a player who's costing us $142,000 this year and give him a minimum contract to actually be playing some actual minutes.
That's what I'm saying. But is he going to play? Because, I mean, I still like Sean Bradley. You know what I mean? You do got Alex Singleton. Maybe they try to find some trust in Taylor. Who knows? And who knows who we bring over? I think obviously we didn't talk about this yet, but us having to find a defensive coordinator is going to really resonate on the kind of people that we bring in and the kind of people that's going to stay. I don't think we get rid of anybody for real. Well, I wouldn't get rid of anybody until I know who my defensive coordinator is going to be. So he can pick, so he can say who I want here. So he can say what guys fit my system and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of defensive coordinators that value linebackers. It's just ours didn't and hasn't. You know what I mean? So who knows what's going to happen with these linebacker situations? Who knows if they cut that guy for $100,000 because you're not even taking a hit and go pick up somebody? You never know. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm kind of saying like I get what you're saying, Gates, but that's the least of my problems right now. That linebacker.
Well, you know what I mean? But it doesn't become the least if we have to start letting go talent on the D line, which is where the majority of our money is housed. And now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think 2 guys.
The roster, we gotta put these dudes in there for major minutes. Like, I mean,
I think two guys is going anyway, though, Gates. I ain't gonna lie. I think 2 guys on the defensive line is going. First of all, Vinny Curry, he's going. What he getting paid? 1.2 million. He's going.
Vinny's contract is already expired at beginning of the league year. His contract expires for this, so that one's not a big deal. Like he's not even counting.
Yeah, that's not even a hit.
Yeah, but I do think like Derek Barnett is probably a really good candidate that's probably done for. Hopefully we can get someone to trade something for him because he is a young pass rusher. But I can't see us keeping him around for $10 million. And then, the simple fact is that
franchise tag you can use something that we really rarely do. I'm not sure if I'm wrong on this, but we rarely ever franchise tag anybody. You know what I mean? No. Like you can franchise tag.
We can't. We don't have the money to franchise nobody. Like we really don't. We don't have the money to franchise nobody currently. I mean, here's the thing: is like we know the money's got to come from a few areas. The majority of our money is on the defensive line and offensive line. Now, in a perfect world, in a perfect world, Jason Kelce, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson would step up and start trying to renegotiate those contracts for us.
We don't even know if Kelce's going to want to play next year, though.
Yeah, I mean that's very likely, and I don't know. I don't know the exact rules around retirement and how that impacts the cap. I would hope we recoup the money when they retire, but I don't know. I mean, maybe that is part of the solution that's going to be in house is that Kelce's going to leave anyways. With that said, man, like even so, it's Kelce's contract enough isn't going to get us out of this hole. Like we need guys to restructure.
Texas about to lose.
All we're doing is pushing money down the road. That's all we're doing. We're just taking the money and moving it from 1 year and just really pushing it down the road. I mean, it's gonna come back eventually on you. I don't know, guys. Like, this is a pretty bad cap situation, man. Like, I had to really play with numbers to even try to get us anywhere near getting back to under the cap number. And like it's hard to mess around with like renegotiating contracts, like that part, like the workarounds for that are too complex to just sit at your house and play on the computer and do that. You know what I mean? But you can definitely see how something like a June 1st cut works, how something like a June 1st trade designation works. You can see how outright cutting them or trading them works. You know what I mean? You can mess around and see that kind of stuff. But we're going to have a serious problem with talent. Like we're going to have, it's going to take a few years to get this team rebuilt again. And I'm going to ask you straightforward, guys. I know one of the dominant theories is that Jim Schwartz knew he was getting fired, so he quit. I don't necessarily buy that. I think the front office loved Jim Schwartz. But is it possible that Jim Schwartz looked at this rebuild, looked at the defense, looked at the salary and cap and said, man, I'm not sticking around for this?
I mean, especially if the little money we have was being told to him that we're going to go offense. We're going to go offense with offensive linemen, maybe more wide receivers, even though I don't know how anybody in this organization scouting or anything could look at this team and not know we need secondary help. Linebackers we need. I understand that. We definitely need linebackers. But when you do have a solid D line and secondary, you can hide poor linebacker play before you can hide secondary play in this type of league. If teams were running the ball 35 times, 40 times a game, it's different. But when you have quarterbacks dropping back 45, 50 times, some, especially if Doug Peterson's the coach, secondary is a need for any team.
Let me ask you guys a question. I know it's way too early to get into this. Do you guys have any before we look at film? I haven't looked at any in-depth film yet either. Do you guys have any pre-favorites yet for wherever we're going to be picking? It's probably going to be top 10, obviously, but do you guys got like a person in mind that before you really run film that just, you're like, yeah, like this person, I saw a little bit in their college, like they're going to be good. Is there any person in particular?
The left tackle Penny, he just seems like a transitional dude. I don't know if Cincinnati is going to go try to snag him instead of getting instead of getting a wide receiver. I get everybody talking about Jamar Chase and Smith and all them guys, but we already know how this organization feels, and I kind of agree with it. Everything starts in the trenches. To get a guy like Penny, and I understand we got Mailata, I like him a lot, but to get a guy like Penny, if you can get that guy, man, you can trade. You can try to trade a Dillard or something like that. I'm not saying you're going to get too much from him. You're definitely not going to get a first round pick. But you can get rid of him, and I think Penny comes in from the rip, and he's your start left tackle from the rip.
Makes sense. I get what you're saying. Because Mulata could play right too, but I think Mulata is going to be a good left tackle though too, man. To be honest,
I do too. But it's nothing to think about me when it comes to Penny. Yeah. It's nothing to think about.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. What about you, Mike? Any pre-scouting favorites? Because none of us have really scouted anything yet.
Yeah, I'm big on Penn State, Michael Parsons. But again, I'm big on him just because I like his style of play, and I've seen a little bit. I'm not a huge Penn State fan, but one of my boys is, and he always talking about him. So I'm forced to know about this guy. I just don't see the Eagles doing that early with that pick. He's great talent, and I know we need linebackers, of course. I want linebacker play, but I just think that linebacker play with a horrible secondary, what are you going to do? Send them on the blitz? If you send them on the blitz, but the corners are getting beat ASAP, well, then he's just blitzing. He's not going to get past the line of scrimmage before the ball's out of their hands. If you drop him back in coverage, cool. He might be able to stick with some of the tight ends, but he's not going to be able to do the CeeDee Lambs, the Michael Gallups, and the Amari Coopers, which we saw we couldn't do last week. We couldn't do it the week before with Christian Kirk, D-Hop and them guys, Fitzgerald. So I think it's going to go down to, hey, I like what Fresh said too. You just get an offensive line piece that is just 100% golden. You don't got to worry about them. Figure the stuff out later, because that's the foundation of this football team, which we saw how bad this team could get when that's the biggest shuffle all year. Shuffling offensive line, nobody looks good. We had a okay line last year, horrible skill players. We still able to get 9 wins with poor skill players, but an offensive line that could protect halfway decent. But it's definitely, that's the guy that I know off the rip. I know the Jamar Chases, Smith, and the Surtains and the Farleys are going to be talked about too. And so I'm going
I ain't gonna lie. When I look at Surtain, I don't. He's probably like a number 2. I don't think he's as good as when you look at the tape. I actually looked at tape yesterday because I talked on the phone with shout out to B1 Philly, and he was telling me that he wasn't good, and I couldn't argue with him because I didn't look at tape. I looked at tape, and when he goes against the more elite in college, he get barbecue chicken, man. And I'm not saying he can't be coached up, but to me, I don't want no more development. Like, the reason I said Penny is because I know for a fact that this dude is a stud. I don't want no guy that's iffy. I don't want no guy that you got to develop. I don't want none of that. I want somebody that's going to come in day one and have an imprint on the game, man. Have an imprint on the game. I'm talking about a major imprint, man. Because when you look at it time after time, we missed. We've been missing, man. Like Dillard, JJ, I think a Whiteside, even Rhaegar, even I like Rhaegar. But when you look at what Justin Jefferson just did this year, it's like, I can't, like, anybody that want to argue with me about Justin Jefferson, I can't argue. Look at what he just did today. Like man, passing Anquan Bolton for the most receiving yards as a rookie. Like this dude just looked like he came in ready to play. And a lot of it is coaching with Rhaegar. I get it. But I don't think we still see that from Rhaegar, even if the coaching is different, that we see from Justin Jefferson. We got to stop listening.
I don't think any of our receivers stood a chance at that level of production just basically due to scheme, quarterback play, and offensive line play, to be honest. Like, these
I
guys are
agree.
getting separation. That's a really bad narrative that people are putting out there. Like, don't get me wrong. There were games this year when we were really limited and thin at receiver where we did struggle. Don't get me wrong. There were some games where we struggled to get separation, but over the last like 4 weeks or so, like that's not been the problem at all. Like, Greg Ward Jr. is actually top 12 in the league in separation. Like, people wouldn't know that, but I mean, it's true. He is. He's top 12. In terms of the draft, though, guys, my thing is if you're picking in the top 12, you should probably have your focus on 3 positions normally: quarterback, offensive line, normally a tackle, or defensive line, D tackle, DN, whatever. The one guy and it depends on where we're picking. Okay, there's the kid Pay. I don't know much about him. I know he's highly rated. I know he's the highest rated defensive lineman. I got to watch film on him before I endorse him. But the kid I have seen film on is the kid from Florida, from the University of Miami, the Rousseau kid, or Rousseau, whatever his name is. Like, that kid is a big physical kid, 6'7", like 265. Like, he's got the build to be like a really special type player. Now, you know, it's where these kids are going to stack, where they could be drafted. How much production are you going to get out of rookie defensive end? You know, that's where it gets kind of complicated there. But I you know what I mean? Like, I think we have to rebuild this team, man. It's gonna be painful, but I'm a little weary with taking any receiver or taking any corner in the top 10. Like, you have to be really good. Like, Calvin Johnson, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be like, it just can't be a decent player. Like, you have to be really good to warrant that pick. And I'm afraid that would make it really difficult for that player to ever live up to expectations.
Yeah. And that's why you always see the D linemen, the offensive linemen, or the franchise quarterbacks come out that early because they're the least risk worthy. You know what I mean? If you are a stud at offensive line and you're that top 5 type, and I'm not saying any offensive line because we've seen it. We took Dillard at whatever, 1920, 1921. I forgot we moved up a little bit in front of the Texans to get him. But still, when you're that top 5 pick,
yeah,
normally it's a quarterback, an offensive lineman, or a defensive lineman or something. But you always do have them Ray Lewis's and them Calvin Johnsons that come out and you just must grabs. I just don't know what the Eagles are going to do because of how many deficiencies we have in this team. And again, you want to get the defensive coordinator in here. You want to get the offensive coordinator and the head coach secured before you guys start making these decisions. You also want to make sure that Howie Roseman is locked in that closet that he was in with Chip Kelly, because, I mean, he was still around, but he was in the closet. He couldn't get out to find the drafting table. We need John Dorsey to be sitting over there talking about, scouts, what do you think? Okay, I'm not going to veto it. You say it. Y'all presented me the information. Who am I to say anything different, even though he knows he got an eye for talent himself?
So let me ask you guys a question about Mekhi Parsons. Like, I've definitely caught a few games with him. He's definitely talented. It's hard to justify a linebacker in the top 10 because, I mean, just the impact you have to have from that position. Like,
agreed.
In the old game, sure. But my question would be, even if you get a Mekhi Parsons and he's really good, and he turns out to be what everyone thinks he is, what's the likelihood? And I know this is a hard question to answer because we don't know who the D coordinator is going to be. What's the likelihood that a linebacker in our system is going to even have the ability to impact games like that?
Well, here's what I can say. And after I say this, I got to get out of here, y'all. My family just texted me. I got to go. Okay. Here's what I can say, man. First of all, it's not going to be the same system. That's number one. Number two.
Well, maybe. I would caution people.
I don't know too many people that play Doug that play Jim Schwartz's system.
They brought Burke in here for a reason, man. That's a Jim Schwartz disciple.
I mean, all right, we'll see.
Guys. I'm not saying he's the guy. I don't know, but it does look a little suspicious.
All right, so here's what I can say real fast, and Micah Parsons, y'all already know I'm a Penn State fan. I watch all the Penn State games. Mm-hmm. He did not play this year, but here's what I can say. This dude is a Javion Clowney type. He's not your particular linebacker. He can play the linebacker position, but he gets at the quarterback. He gets at the quarterback. He's a rover type of dude, and he's going to make an impact on the game. That's what I can say. Would I take him at number 4?
More tweener?
Huh?
So you see him more as a tweener?
Yeah, especially if he's used right. He's like how Avery should be used.
So you'd want to use him in a 3-4 system more, right?
You don't have to be in a 3-4 system to use a guy like that. You can still have your guys up front at 4. And the thing is, the system would have to be a cover one type of system, or one safety over the top, if you're going to use him like he can be used. Now he can cover, but his best attribute is getting at the quarterback. So it's not like he's going to be out there and he just lost covering. Like the kid got skills, but his best thing is getting at the quarterback. The kid is fast, the kid is resilient, and he got muscle on him. You know what I mean? He can really get at the quarterback, and that's what I see the best for him. You know what I mean? Covering tight ends. I'm not saying he's bad at it, but that's not what he's good at. If when you turn on the tape with this kid, you're going to see him getting after the quarterback. That's what you're going to see. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying put him at defensive line. I'm saying he should be that rover type. And if you do want to change the system to 3-4, I ain't got no problem with that neither, because that would help him, but it also will help Hargrave. You know what I mean? Like when you really look at it, and who knows like I said, I don't know who the defensive coordinator is going to be. So it's hard for me to say that we should pick a Micah Parsons. You know what I mean? Especially at a 4 or a 5. If we there, well, I don't know about that. Texans just lost, so it's hard to sit there and say that I would pick this guy earlier than top 10. I don't know if he's a top 10 talent. You know what I mean? But we'll see, man. We'll see. But I got to get out of here. I will catch y'all post game, man. Seriously. Everything, yeah. Everything is all right, man. Everything's good. I just gotta go. I just gotta go to the crib, y'all. All right, man. All right, see y'all, man. Yo, that.
Peace.
Later, man. So, I mean, I'm empathetic to that, Mike, because I was a huge Akeem Gaither-Davis fan. I wanted the Eagles to take Akeem Gaither-Davis because he's an in-betweener. He's a rover. He's a guy that can play safety. He can play outside linebacker, and the kid can bring pressure. He's very athletic. I thought that's a guy that could make a difference in the Eagles system. Obviously, I would have loved to have added Isaiah Simmons, but he was gone long before we were picking. Although he slid further in the draft than what people thought.
Yeah.
Probably rightfully so, because I think he has kind of proved in Arizona that maybe he was more of a development than people thought. Because he did seem like a bit of a surefire when when you really broke down his film at Clemson, but he struggled more at Arizona early than I thought he would.
Yep. He didn't really get much playing time until the middle of the season.
Yeah. I mean, I really thought we needed a more speed-based backer with that could impact games. Kind of like the way Riddick does for the Cardinals. But, I thought the guy you were pretty high on, Troy Dye, I thought Troy Dye kind of has that ability. Willie Gay Jr. would have been really good. He's a fast player. There was a lot of opportunities. Patrick Queen was a guy that had a lot of speed and was kind of an in-betweener. Like, it's just hard to say, because if we had drafted smarter, I don't think the situation would be quite as bad. Now, maybe Davion Taylor, with a year of experience under his belt, comes back and is a different guy. I don't know, but man, I gotta wonder about the talent that we have on defense, man. I'm concerned that forsaking players defensively to get under the cap could really lead to a defense that is so much worse talent wise than it is currently. Doesn't mean the production is going to change at all, because we were doing fairly well and then we slid. But I don't know, man. I mean, I look at this and I counted 5 guys that are over 30, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Malik Jackson, Rodney McLeod, Darius Slay. The 30-plus club is what I call them. 4 of those guys are making more than $10 million. And then when I look at our young, what I would call the young talent, okay, this doesn't mean that they're all pros. These are pro bowlers. They're younger guys that kind of, they make contributions. Derek Barnett on a 5th-year option. He might not be back because he's an easy way of getting 10 mil right there. Javon Hargrave. I think Javon Hargrave's a decent player, but I do think there is legitimate. I think it's legitimate for people to say like, hey, he's a good player, but is he worth 15 million? I don't know. Like, that's hard to say because you don't know where the salaries are going for the position. 2 years from now, it might look like a lot better contract than it does right now. Mm-hmm. Josh Sweat, Avonte Maddox. I don't know how else you classify some of these guys, man. And Jannard Avery. Like that's another 5 guys. Of these 5 guys, the way it works is 2 of these guys are making above 10 million. And then basically 2 of these guys are making about $1 million. Jannard Avery's making about 920,000. We got 3 guys from the draft, Mike, from last year. Kavon Wallace, Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley, right? Man, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 undrafted rookie free agents, former practice squad members of other teams, or waiver wire claims. TJ Edwards, Craig James, Marcus Epps, Raekwon Williams, Graylin Arnold, Michael Jaquette, Elijah Raleigh, Kayvon Seymour, Joe Bacci, and then Rashad Smith that are still under contract. I'm not talking about in this game, guys. That are still under contract for 2021. That's the talent that's left on defense before we make changes. Like,
yeah,
scary, man. This is a scary situation.
Very scary. And it just shows that, this defensive coordinator job, I was talking about, like, look, when I did that little Jim Schwartz stream, I'm under the impression that, they hired Jim Schwartz prior to getting Doug. They brought Doug, who was a offensive coordinator. I'm not saying he was great play caller or not, but he was an offensive minded coach to be a head coach. When you do that to a young coordinator, he's not young, but when a offensive coordinator, first time head coach becomes the head coach, you want to get a seasoned defensive coordinator in there because the head coach ain't really going to be able to give good advice to a young defensive coordinator. So I'm thinking with Doug Peterson being the play caller this whole time, having all this on his plate, he understands defenses, but you get a young up and coming defensive coordinator in there when he goes through the struggles, how much is Doug going to be able to guide him? I mean, you'll have coordinators, you'll have the DB coordinator, the linebacker coordinator, all that. But when you look at Doug, he looks like he needs a guy who can just run his defense, and he's going to say, go ahead and do that. He'll make the executive decisions and whatnot about the overall game, probably wrong situationally. But I would want a veteran guy. But what veteran guy is going to come in and step on this to take this defense, to put their names? The upcoming defensive coordinator could be kind of easy to get. It's like, hey, I want this opportunity. But you're not going to get like the Leslie Frazier's, possibly the Greg Williams, the Dan Quinns that come say, this is what you want me to work with? I was a head coach once, now going back to defensive coordinator. I'm not coming with this. So it comes down to, like you said, we got to see who starts getting cut. But you would want your defensive coordinator in here before you start cutting their players.
Yeah. Well, and you get guys like, and I get what you're saying, the coordinator position is really important. Whoever we hire for D coordinator, it's an incredibly important position. But like, you look at a team like the Rams, man, going into this season, if someone said that Brandon Staley was going to be as good as he's been for the Rams, I'd be like, man, you lost your mind.
True.
Man's an outside linebacker coach on the Denver Broncos. They got a good defense. Don't get me wrong, but that Denver team was in disarray last year. Like,
and he did a good job.
Man, sometimes you just got to know. You got to know the guys that are on the come up, and that's why I think a guy like D'Amico Ryans he's really risky. But when you hear people talk about D'Amico Ryans, he's talked about
where is he at now?
Was in San Fran. I don't know if he still is. Let me see. He was in San Fran. I don't know if he's still there or not. Let me check real quick.
So he obviously was a linebacker coach, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but linebacker coaches seem to translate good. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the linebacker is the quarterback of the defense. Maybe it's because they understand things, but linebacker coaches, like you said, Brandon Staley, who actually listen, we played the Rams week 2 of the season. This was before the Rams were one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. I was making fun of Brandon Staley like, hey, we got a young defensive coordinator. Let's attack him. The dude shaped up to be pretty good at his job. Yes, he got talent. He got Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. He got some talent, but he's actually put these guys in better positions than Wade Phillips did. With that being said, another linebacker coach.
He built a really effective scheme around the talent, though. That's the thing. Like he put a really good scheme in place around that talent. I mean, look, I definitely know. I get that there's a legitimacy for hiring Burke. He's been a D coordinator before. He knows Jim Schwartz's scheme. You don't have to go through massive personnel changes. Maybe his in-game calling could be better than Schwartz, but I don't think he's the same. I don't think he has the same football mind that Jim Schwartz did. I think that's the issue. As much as Jim Schwartz frustrated the crap out of me with that prevent defense stuff and like putting his corners on an island forever and ever, but he knew football. Like the one thing I will never take away from Jim Schwartz is that dude was really smart. He knew the game very well. He just was hard-headed, man. Like, he'd be like, oh, I'm not going to if I give 2 safety help, then the running backs that can receive, that can catch are going to eat us up. I mean, that was always like one of the major justifications he gave. And it's like, man, like how many Alvin Kamaras are you playing a week, dude?
Exactly. And that's where we both that's where we both were at for the last couple seasons. The last season that we knew each other. It was like, listen, does Jim Schwartz do things that make you want to replace him? Yes. But overall, who's the guy that you honestly think is better equipped to run a whole defense? Again, his scheme at times would piss us off, make us upset. He does things with his stubbornness because of how far he's been in his football career. But the thing is, I don't think he ever adjusted to the defense getting worse and worse and worse talent-wise. And with the defense getting worse talent-wise, he didn't adjust his scheme. He wants to do what he wants to do regardless of the situation. And sometimes he simplifies it because the defense needs it because they don't have the talented linebacker. We weren't at a couple games getting the pass rush we want. We don't have the corners that can press man. So you play them 10 feet off. But this is the NFL. It's a passing league. They're going to eat you down the field little by little. And his bend but don't break slowly started bending more. And it bent so far, it started breaking. So we were losing. You know what I mean? It comes down to like, I don't know if he was forced out or like you said, look at the money. Look at the corners, look at the linebacker position, look at the defensive line, the one spot that we can hang our hats to. We might have to cut some of these guys. So this defense could be a defense that he's like, my name is going down and down and down. My contract is expiring. Hey, Eagles, it was a good run. We out.
Yeah, I mean, we might need somebody who either knows this system already and is familiar with the front office and is familiar with Doug and all that to step in, or we might need somebody that's young and innovative and willing to take a chance in a really bad situation. My problem is I hear the names thrown away around like Gus Bradley. I'm not a big Dan Quinn guy personally. I think that he hasn't been very good outside of his couple of years in Seattle.
With the Legion of Boom.
Exactly. I think he's a little overrated. Wade Phillips, those dudes aren't coming here. I mean, I would be shocked. I can't say they aren't coming here because I don't know. Maybe money might sway to anybody, no matter how bad the circumstance. But I would think that they will have opportunities for much more stable, you know what I mean, gigs right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess the only stability you could say is that Jeffrey Lurie he's not one of these owners that will just quickly fire somebody. I don't think that's his MO, especially if you're a coordinator or you're the head coach. I think he gives guys a legitimate chance. But I'm just looking at the cap situation, looking at the talent on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I think it might be a little hard to sell some of the big names to come here.
Hey, I agree. With that being said, we are at 8:03. and the game starts at 8:20. We normally do our players of the game and all that, but did you hear, if you guys were listening, which I know you guys are, we got 232 people watching. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Now, if you look in the chat that you're watching it and you see there's not 232 people, don't think I'm lying. We are live on 3 different channels. Even though Philly Fresh left early, we are still live on this channel. So make sure you show love to everybody. The Philly Talk Podcast, Philly Fresh, and my guy, Gate City Sports Channel. And wherever you're watching it at this point, do us a favor. This season has been rough, but we hung in there with you every pregame, every postgame, through the 4 games that we could celebrate and the long list that we couldn't celebrate. We hung in there with you. We will be doing Battle Birds podcast because we have a drama-filled off season to go through. We'll be doing it every Saturday night. I know Fresh is looking forward to them 4 hours. We're going to try, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting old, and I'm the youngest, but I'm getting old for some reason, somehow. With that being said, wherever you're watching it, this long ramble was, smash the like button for your boys. We appreciate you guys 100%. Let's go out and see what happens this game. I'm not going to give my player the game or not. I'm just going to keep it as this was all about the off season, and that's where I think the Eagles got to focus on the off season. Give your take, and we'll say our pieces. Gate, how do you feel about this game? Or do you want to give like your player the game, or you know what I mean? Is it worth it to be at this point? Who's playing? Who's going to play the whole game?
Player of the game. I don't even know who's going to play the whole game. I'll say Boston Scott just because maybe he'd play the whole game. I don't know. Offensively, defensively, who's even out there? I don't even know who's out there, Mike. Defensively, exactly. I mean, Bocce? I don't know. I don't even know who's out there. It'll probably be Darius Slade defensively because that's the only name I'm confident is going to be out there. And even he's kind of dealing with some nagging injury stuff. I'm going to say this. It would be just like the Eagles to win a game they should lose.
True.
It would be just like us to do that. So I'm not going to say they're going to lose because something about this team, man, every time they're supposed to do something, you know what I'm saying? They do the opposite of what they should do. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to say I can't predict the Eagles losing, bro. I'm not even going to go score a prediction. I can't do it, bro. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I hear you, my guy. Hey, listen. We're going to be breaking down some scouting reports on college players. I know he's going to be going through a lot more through the contract in depth. So, if your favorite Eagles leaving, he's going to tell you, make sure a box of Kim wipes or tissues next to you, but he's going to let you know who's in and out.
Guys, Carson Wentz's contract's on the horizon. I'm going to break it down as best as I can, line by line. That one's coming up for review, especially since the whirlwinds are picking up about rumors here. So that's coming up.
Facts. With that being said, I'm going to try to do a post game. I don't know if I can. I'll let you and Fresh know in the group text. It's going to be late, and I might have to wake up even earlier than I think tomorrow. With that being said, win or lose, higher draft pick or lower draft pick, we got to figure this out in the offseason. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be easy. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you smash the like button wherever you're watching it. We appreciate you guys. It's free. It's easy. Get it done. Until next time, you guys know what time it is. Peace.